Well, hello. In today's video, what I want to speak about is what I mentioned yesterday. I want to offer today 5 ways to support yourself in utilizing your willpower, strengthening and building your willpower. Hey, my name's Alan Vukas, and every morning for the past few weeks now, I have been offering these Facebook Lives, what I call Adventures in Prosperity, to support you and me in contemplating principles of prosperity. And why might this be important? Well, because we have received over the course of our life so many different messages that don't necessarily support us. Messages that actually cause us or could convince us, if we believed it, that there isn't enough time, there isn't enough energy, there isn't enough support, there isn't enough love, there isn't enough harmony, there isn't enough good in the world for us to be and do and have what life is calling us. And what if that wasn't true? What if it was just an idea that someone convinced us of, and because we believe it's true, then we stop from even trying? So this is, to me, the value, the importance of contemplating prosperity principles is to dilute and eventually dissipate and remove those ideas that stand in the way of our good. And by embracing a new idea, convincing ourselves of something else, and by believing something else, we begin to act in a different way. By thinking in a certain way, we act in a certain way. And according to Wallace Wattles, which is the book that we have been using as the basis for these conversations, as the basis for the principles of prosperity. Wallace Wattles writes in his book, this was written in 1910, and the principles are just as true today, that if we think in a certain way and act in a certain way, then the process of getting rich, as he describes, and he does, when he defines rich, he is talking about money, but as you and I know, it's so much more than just money. Life is more than just about the dollars and cents that we have in our checking account. Life is about the energy and the vitality and the stamina and the strength that we have in our bodies. It's feeling good in our bodies, flexible. In our relationships, having harmony and love and connection and sharing. In our vocation and the work that we're doing in the world, it is about working, offering our gifts and talents freely, and working with people that we love and who love us, and being compensated richly for that, and being compensated joyfully for that, and also joyfully receiving the compensation and appreciation that others have for the work that we are doing in the world. And it's also about money. It's also about opportunity. It's about having the time and the money to be and to do and to have, to express those talents, to give those gifts in the most creative way that nourishes our soul. So it's important for us to release these old ideas and embrace new ideas. But as we've been talking, let's just dive into, I'm going to, in chapter 9 of the Science of Getting Rich, Wallace Wattles, in the last sentence, I want to use that as I jump into sharing with you 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 5. I didn't count it. But five things to keep in mind in order to support you in developing your willpower, utilizing your willpower in an effective way. In the chapter, How to Use the Will, Wallace Wattles says this, the very last line. He says, use your willpower to keep your mind off the subject of poverty. Poverty, lack, limitation, not enoughness. Use your willpower to keep your mind off of that and to keep it fixed with faith and purpose on the vision of what you want. On the vision of what you want. Use your mind to think in a certain way, to think about what you want to think the truth. And so now there's some ideas, and I mentioned this in the video yesterday, yesterday's Facebook Live, that according to some, willpower, or the power to turn your mind, will is the ability to choose, to decide. And And willpower is using your will to I keep doing this. And what that means is to turn your head, to turn away, to make a decision. Oh, notice what you're noticing. And if it's not on the vision, if it's not on the life that you would love to live, if it's not on what you want to be, do, and have in your life, thinking in a certain way means thinking what it is that you want and using your will when circumstances and conditions in the old paradigms tell us, oh, this is the way it must be, because that's what we know from all of our past experiences. Well, that might have been true up till now. But using the power of your will to choose again, to turn and move and look at what it is that you want to look at. There's a theory, an idea, that is a limited resource, that is only so much of it is available to us during the day. And some people argue with that. So what I want to offer you is some ideas, regardless of whether it's a limited resource or whether it's something that you can generate. And I sort of like that idea, that I can generate more power to utilize my will, just as an electric plant generates the power. It doesn't have to pipe in the power, it generates it. So here are some ways that you can generate power back of your will to support you in keeping your eyes focused on the vision of the life that you would love to live. The first one is one day at a time. One day at a time. If you've taken the time to create a vision statement, I was working on mine again today. I have taken time and I encourage you to do this, is actually write it out. Write out the life that you would love to live in the areas of your health, relationships, your creative vocation, your time and money freedom. You do it on your spirituality, your emotions, your intellectual pursuits. Write a vision statement. Write a statement of what you would love to have and why. The what and the why. Gives you the purpose as to why you are moving in this direction of a life that you would love to live. Write it in the present tense as if you already have it. But the key thing here is one day at a time. Sometimes if we live in the future, then we end up either awfulizing or actually stopping ourselves from being present to what is right here and taking the action that's right in front of us. And when we look at a vision of a life that would love to have, if it meets all the tests that I've mentioned that I shared with you, Mary Morrissey's 5 questions, 5 tests to test your dream to see if it's big enough for you. One of those is that it requires the help of a higher power, that it's bigger than you and me. And sometimes when we look at our dream or our vision, we may get overwhelmed. And if you find yourself getting overwhelmed with thinking, how am I going to do this? Well, then that is, keep it one day at a time. What is mine to do today in relation to this dream? If I believed this was possible, and I'm so happy and grateful now that this is true, then what's one thing I can do today? And let tomorrow take care of tomorrow. Have you ever made plans for today and then you end up then all of your plans get reorganized because something unexpected show up? Well, then why are you living tomorrow? Why are you trying to figure out what you're going to do 3 months from now? Now, planning is one thing, but in relation to keeping your eyes on the prize, one day at a time. The other thing, another point to remember is your mind. Your ability to think. This is the most valuable gift that we have. The gifts of our mind. And because Ernest Holmes says that the only thing that stands between us and our greater good is a thing of thought. And it is with our minds that we are able to tap into a higher thought, to receive a higher thought. So we need to take care of our minds. And how can we take care of our minds? One, by watching what we're putting into our minds. Watching what it is that we are exposing ourselves to, the conversations that we're having. What is the words that are coming out of our mouth? Notice what you're noticing. Support your keeping your eyes on the vision, using your willpower to think about the vision by noticing how you are using your mind in other ways throughout the day. Now, there's a part B to this one as far as the value of your mind, and that would be taking care of the vehicle in which you utilize to move around the world and to communicate and play with others on this playground that we call life. So make sure that you're getting plenty of rest. One thing that's willpower, people who are on diets or who are trying to lose weight and get in their best shape possible, then if they don't get enough rest and not enough sleep, then it has been proven that your ability to choose is weaker. So get some sleep. Turn off the TV earlier and just go to bed 30 minutes earlier. Or if that's too much, then how about just begin today 15 minutes earlier. Start to get more rest. Rest your body. Feed your body foods and drink those things that nourish it, so that it can be the best vehicle possible. Take care of your vehicle that you use. The one thing, and this might be obvious, but keep your eyes on the prize. Keep your eyes on the vision. Write out a statement that you read every day, at least once a day, maybe twice a day. When you wake up in the morning, I usually do mine in the morning, but you can also do it before you go to sleep, planting those seeds into your subconscious mind, allowing it to work on it while you are going to sleep and taking care of your body with getting rest. So eyes on the vision, eyes on the prize by reading it and keeping it available. I have write down on 3x5 cards. I have 3x5 cards scattered all over the place of bullet points of my vision, of things that I want to keep in front of me. So to keep your eyes on the vision and support yourself, then keep it in front of you, literally. Here's one more point. The fourth one is, how about developing an I can attitude? We talked about this earlier this week. Earlier this week. We talked about Wallace Wattles talks about in his book that we need to develop an I can attitude. So to support you in your willpower, develop an attitude of I can. Tell yourself throughout the day, I can. And I can succeed. I can do this. I am doing this. Anything that is possible to anyone is possible to me, and I am doing this. And here's the one last point that I want to leave you with today on this Friday. I want to offer you this is, I lived in Florida most of my life, in Tampa. And there was a beautiful park that was not too far from where I lived, Hillsborough River State Park. The Hillsborough River is a river that Tampa gets its water from, but it's also a source of beauty and people. There's opportunities to be able to fish and to swim and to enjoy this beautiful river, the Hillsborough River. Well, there's parts of it that are beautiful, especially at the park. But in order to go down the river and enjoy the current of life, the current of the river, the best way to do that is to utilize structures in order to support that. And one of the ways you could do it is a canoe or a float. And I'm using this as a metaphor, is in order to support you in traveling the river of life, support yourself by creating structures or using structures to support you in your journey of getting from here to there. Now, what are some structures that might support you? I've mentioned some already. Having a clear written vision statement and reading it, having it put in an area, that is a structure that can support you where you don't have to every day dream it up again. And what was that again? Use the structure of a written statement to support you. How about getting yourself around people who think the way that you want to think and that you want to be. Surround yourself with not just like-minded people, but Jim Rohn says that our net worth is the sum total of our 5 closest friends, or how about the 5 people that whose opinion matters the most to us. The 5 people in our life, that their opinion matters the most to us, that we actually are measuring ourselves up against them. Our net worth would be equal to the sum total of the average of those 5. It's an interesting thought. But how about surrounding yourself with people who are already living a life that you would love to live, or have elements of that, and tap into their consciousness, tap into the field in which they're living. Get into a class. Stay in classes. Read books that support you. Get into community with people of like mind. Do you know, in the age that we're living in, people spend so much time on Facebook consuming other people's ideas rather than being conscious and using their minds to get into the boat or into the vehicle that will move them down in the direction that they want. So get into classes, get a coach, find mentors that will support you and hold you accountable. These are structures. Do you know, if you were going to the gym and you wanted to transform your body, then you might get a coach or a trainer to help you move from here to there. The life we would love to live, we may not all know all the ways, but if we get into a vehicle and find support to help us move in that direction, it makes it so much easier that you don't have to swim down the river by your own strength. There are structures that can support you in easily and effortlessly gliding down the river. And to me, coaches are important, classes are important, groups are important, books are important to utilize, to move into the tailwind of someone else and allow those who've already paved the way ahead of you. This is why I'm diving into this. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm utilizing the principles and tapping into the principles that Wallace Wattles has already written about. And I'm using that as a structure to support me in my own pursuit of the life that I would love to live. So get into groups or classes, or you're in this Facebook Live. You're watching this. This is a means to support you in using your will. So I'd like to close this today and close this week's of Adventures of Prosperity by anchoring it with a word of affirmative prayer. And I invite you to join me in knowing this today, that there is only one power, one presence, one intelligence that is in me and in you. There's no separation. At the level of mind, at the level of spirit, there is only one. Like an ocean, there is only one. And at that level, right here, this is what I know about that level. And so I know I could declare the truth, the spiritual truth about myself and about you today in this word, setting the law of mind in motion for us. And what I know is that there is no lack or limit in the mind of God, which means there is no lack in our minds. There is no lack or limitation. And because this is true, then what I declare and know right here and now is that I am guided and directed and protected in all areas of my life. And what is true for me is true for you. And so this word, as I'm saying it for myself, just accept it as the truth for you. Join me in knowing this, that I am guided and directed and protected in every area of my life. The vision that emerges within me today, it is the vision of life itself that is calling me forward. And I accept right here for myself and for each one who is hearing this and knowing this, that I accept that there is nothing that can stand in the way between us and that greater vision. That vision is the truth, the spiritual truth. It is our birthright. And so I know that everything necessary everything necessary, every structure to guide, to support us from here to there, from where we're at to where we want to be. I know that it is already part of the vision. It is part of the mind of God. And so I say yes to whatever support, whatever structures make their way into my life right here and now. I have the support I need, and I am taking the actions that I am impelled and compelled to take. And I have the power and the ability to and means to live the life that is mine by divine birthright. There is nothing that can stand in the way of my good, not even myself. So that is what I accept here today. And I know that Spirit is guiding and directing and bringing together everything necessary for this to be the full experience in my life and in your life, here, in this moment, without delay, and in the most wonderful ways. Oh, I'm so grateful for this. And I just allow this truth to be fully manifest. And I know that it is done, and I allow it to be with great gratitude by saying, and so it is. So I look forward to seeing you next week in our continued adventures in prosperity. You know, this weekend, write down, make a list for yourself of a couple ways that you, sit down, ask yourself, what are some structures that I can put in my life right here and now? What are some ways that can support me, myself, in taking the direction? Is there a class that I've been wanting to take? Is there some action that has been calling to me? What is a way that I can easily do that? Or what are some individuals that I would love to spend some time with? Write their names down. Do that today by taking action. You know what? This is the bonus. This is the sixth way. Taking action on what you know to do also supports you in fully using your will in a way that will empower you to be, do, and have your next level of being. Peace and love. Namaste. I look forward to seeing you in next week's Facebook Lives.